Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be swatching, trying on, testing a couple of new Urban Decay products. If you guys follow me on Instagram, which I know I don't post to enough, I need to get better at that, then you will saw that I already teased that I have the new Urban Decay Wild Greens palette and also the new Wild Lash Mascara. Now this is the first time that Urban Decay has completed or created a completely vegan formula for both their eyeshadow and for their mascara. There are no animal byproducts, nothing of the sort in these. So the Wild, what's this called? The Wild Greens palette is a vegan formula with a hint of avocado oil. And I can see that on the back of the mascara it says, good for your lashes, made with ingredients from sources such as coconut, sunflower, avocado, cassava, colza, minerals, and grains. 10 times more volume, 64% more lift. So, and up to 16-hour wear. So I'm really looking forward to this. Now it claims to have like a leaf brush shape to the wand, obviously. So we will get to that nearer to the end. But first, I dropped it on the ground. Let's hope it's okay. We are going to talk about this eyeshadow palette. So this palette is $58 Canadian. I don't know what the equivalent is in American dollars because I'm not American. I don't live in the States. But just assume it's less than $58 because your dollar's better than ours. So this is, I think, one of the first palettes from Urban Decay that I've seen in sort of more minimalistic packaging. A lot of the times, like for their naked palettes, it's like a lot thicker of a plastic sort of packaging. So this one is cardboard. It is like this metallic teal with an eye on it, and it opens like this, and this is what it looks like on the inside. Absolutely gorgeous. 12 shades, really up my alley in terms of shade range. You've got some neutrals, definitely some greens in there, a couple of different formulas, some matte, some shimmers, some metallics. So as per usual, I haven't done anything with this palette yet. I haven't swatched it. I haven't tested it out. And it also does look like it folds over on itself pretty nicely, because that can sometimes be a little bit obnoxious when you have a palette that has these big wings on them and it's constantly closing on itself when you're trying to use it. So the fact that it does just completely wrap around itself, plus for me, there is no mirror on this palette, but I find that that's not really a big deal anymore because most of us have access to a mirror. The only time I could see it being difficult if you were using this for travel, but even still, most of us will have access to a mirror somewhere, whether it's on a not on a, but in a car. There's always the rear view mirror, or the what are those ones called? The flip down mirrors? I'm sure they have a real name. I can't think of what they are. Whether they're those mirrors or, you know, we all have cell phones now, so while the lighting's not the best, we can always use the flip camera and do our makeup that way. Or hotels always have mirrors. And plus, there's a good chance that if you're doing your makeup, you have some other product or you have access to some other mirror. So I don't think that that's a big deal. I know for some people that can be a selling or a breaking point. For me, not a big deal. I like the simplistic packaging. So let us get straight into swatching. We're going to do finger swatches, arm swatches. I just noticed my ring is not on. All right, that's better. I found it. Not that I was afraid that I lost it. I do take my ring off when I wash my hands, when I am applying makeup, because I tend to get makeup all over my fingers and I don't want it getting like all gunky in the ring. So let's swatch this on our arm first, and then we're going to do some sort of a fun look. I know it's February and very close to Valentine's Day, so you would be thinking I would be putting up like Valentine's Day looks. But for me, one of the most fun holidays was always St. Patrick's Day, and it is coming up next month. And since there are some fun greens in here, I thought that that would be kind of fun. And I've also put on like kind of like a corally sort of lipstick and blush, because whenever I do St. Patrick's Day looks, I tend to do green on the eyes and like orangey coral everywhere else, just to sort of represent the Irish flag. So let's get right on into this. So I'm going to swatch, okay, the mattes. I assume it's a matte. It might not be. It might be like a pearl finish. Very, very soft. So this first color here is Chill. It's kind of like a shimmery white base. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous color. Really nice pigmentation, really soft feeling. And there it is right there. It's not showing up the greatest. It did sheer out kind of very pearly once it got here, but based on how it felt on my finger, you could definitely pack a punch with it. You could pack it on a lot. Okay, The mattes are extremely soft, like extremely soft. You can definitely feel some of that avocado oil in there. So this is Lo-Fi. It's kind of like a neutral peach. It's almost the same color as my skin tone, so I don't know how well this is going to show up in a swatch. Actually, it's not that bad. That's that right there. Next up is Kickback. This is a really, really nice, it's not quite a like chocolate brown, maybe like a milk chocolate brown. It is definitely the darkest brown in the palette, but absolutely gorgeous. Another really soft shadow. And they have pretty good pigmentation going on. They're not going on patchy or splotchy at all, which is really nice. They are staining my finger a little bit, so that's something to keep in mind. I'm just going to wipe a little bit of that off before getting into our first kind of like glittery shadow. So this is Fuzz. It's got some really cool reflect to it because, oh no, it does sort of look similar in the pan. It kind of goes gold and orange, kind of almost a copper vibe, if you will. So we'll put that there. Absolutely stunning. Really, really beautiful formula on those. Next up is Turmeric. So it feels like a matte, but it sort of looked like there was a little shimmer in it. Mind you, that could have been some Kickback. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, nope, because the shade underneath it looks the same. So it looks like a matte that has a little bit of like glitter to it. It doesn't show up a lot, like the glitter doesn't show up a lot when you actually swatch it and get it on your finger, but in the pan itself, it might just even be a topper, or it could just be fallout from a shadow next to it. Next we have High Vibe. This is another shimmery one. Kind of has like a pinkish, rosy sort of tone to it. Right there. So those are the first 6 colors. This is probably the more neutral half of the palette. What's really interesting is I find that there are some cool tones and some warm tones in here, which is always kind of fun to play with, just to see what you can do. It's a very different sort of palette. Next, we're gonna get, oopsies, onto the bottom row, the final 6. So this first one is Earthside. I love this shade. It's kind of like a taupey gray. Absolutely stunning. I can tell that's gonna be one of my favorites in the palette. I always do tend to lean towards colors like that, or like the purplish grays I really enjoy as well. Next is Super Green. So it's like a minty green, and it is minty. Really, really nice color payoff, really nice pigmentation. This is getting a little bit chunky, if I'm completely honest. I can see some chunks are coming off on my fingers. It's not a big deal, just something to be aware of. And ultimately, you should always give your brush a little bit of a tap before you put it on your face, just to avoid some fallout. Next up is Prickly. It's kind of like a minty teal shimmer. Like, I wouldn't call it teal, I wouldn't call it mint. It's sort of right in the middle, very cool kind of color. Oh, that's really pretty. Hoping you guys can see that. It's like the shimmer version of the color up above. Next we have Twist. Right here it's kind of like a greenish gold. Super pretty. I'm trying to make sure that as I swatch things for you guys, I'm leaving enough time for you guys to actually see them. I've gotten complaints about that in the past, that right as my camera focuses, I take my finger away or whatever. Next up is Kale. This one's kind of like a lime green or a chartreuse green. Still really pretty. It's almost got like an olivey green to it as well, kind of like a dirty martini sort of a color. And the final color is Stash. I really like this color. It reminds me a little bit of MAC Humid, which is one of my favorite greens. It's kind of got like a little bit of brown undertone to it, a bit of deepness. So those are the 12 colors that we will be working with today. I don't know exactly where we're going. Like I said, we're going to try and stick to some of the greens, but what I like is that the other colors that are in this palette do follow some of that more like corally orange sort of thing, and I find that greens and corals go really, really nicely together. So I'm going to wipe my arm off and we are going to start playing in this palette. Alright, so I brought you guys in a little bit closer so that hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to be using my ColourPop Hocus Pocus mirror because obviously this palette doesn't have a mirror. No big deal though. I have a vague idea of what I want to do, but we'll see if I actually end up there. So first off, I'm gonna take the color Lo-Fi. It's this peachy color right here, the one I said was sort of similar to my skin tone, and I'm going to use that to sort of give myself a bit of a base in the crease. We're gonna go a little high because, you know, for fun, for St. Patrick's Day, we want a little bit of drama, but nothing crazy because I am not a crazy eye drama person. Also, I do have on my MAC Painterly Paint Pot as a base. You could use any base that you're comfortable with. I've been told the P. Louise bases are very, very good. I just have not gotten to experience them yet. Also really exciting, I did place orders from a couple of brands that are completely new to me, ones that I've never tried before, and to be honest, ones that I haven't seen a ton on. Like they're super, I don't want to say they're indie brands, but they're just not as mainstream, right? Like Sephora doesn't sell them. They're probably not as easily accessible unless you know a lot about makeup. So it's some of the bigger collectors and the bigger beauty YouTubers that will know about them. I'm really excited about those. I'm thinking about sort of doing a series of a new brand sort of thing. I did pick up from one of the brands like 6 eyeshadow palettes. They were very, very affordable, so maybe I'll do a video dedicated to each one. We shall see. So now that I've got that sort of high in the crease, at least high for me, obviously alter what I'm doing to your own eye shape. Let's go in with Earthside. That's that sort of taupey tan kind of color, the one that I was saying was probably going to be a staple for me. And I'm just getting a slightly smaller brush, and I'm going to take that again all in the crease, but just a little bit tighter, because that's just going to give us a little bit of depth in the crease. So first thing I will say, these shadows are blending out absolutely beautifully. They're doing basically exactly what I want them to do. There is some fallout in the palette, but that can just be attributed to the fact that they are a softer formula. I even said that as I was swatching them, how soft they were, how I was seeing a little bit of kickback in the palette, just something to be aware of, and that would be the reason for tapping your brush off, although I'm not doing that every time, not following my own advice, just like that. And I think we're also gonna take a little bit of that color, and I'm going to smoke it out underneath my lash line as well. Now we might add some green there later, maybe even a little tighter or in the waterline, we shall see, but for now I just want to pop of that down there. Really smoke that out. That is not what I meant to say, but we're gonna go with it. Okay. I want to incorporate a little bit of those oranges as well, so let's take turmeric. It's that kind of corally orange, and again, I'm gonna go a little bit more to the outside of my crease. We're gonna go a little bit high, nothing crazy. We are gonna layer some green on top of this as well. I like this palette because you could definitely do a completely neutral look to it, to anything you're doing. Like if you sort of stopped around where I am now, or kept going even with some of the other browns in the palette and stayed away from those bright greens and mints, you could definitely do an all neutral look, but that's not fun, so let's do something exciting. Just like that. Do you guys need to be closer? I'll bring you a little closer. Don't know if you want to be, but hey there. Let's use the color Kale. This is like that dirty martini kind of olive green. I want to see how this plays. So it picks up on the brush quite nicely, and we're going to, oh yeah, that's beautiful. It's getting a little bit muddy just because I did lay down that orange prior, but it's still definitely coming across green to me. We're just going to pack on quite a bit more of that, and I'm letting this go in the crease and also on my corner, like my outer corner. You could realistically cover your whole lid in this shade and then go over top with any kind of glitter or whatever you thought you wanted to use. I'm not 100% sure what I want to use yet. I'm also not 100% sure if I want to go with black eyeliner today. I'm thinking brown might be the way to go, but we'll see. Don't know. So really fun, nice bright green. I really like that. There's a lot of color payoff to that. Really, really pretty color. Now, what do I want to do next? I'm trying to debate if I want to go green on the lid in something like prickly or super greens, if we want to go more golden with that twist color. Let's do the twist color, but in the meantime, I do think I want to put some of that Kale color underneath my eye as well. So I'm just looking for, I'm going to take an angled brush, and it's just going to make it a little bit more close to my waterline, and it's going to make it a bit more packed on, less blended out. So literally I'm just taking it, I'm just going to show you guys how I do it, and I just sort of pick a line and almost stamp it on. You can definitely do a drag, but sometimes I feel like you have less control than if you just pick a point and go boop and stamp it. Move it over a little bit and stamp it again. Might give you a little bit more control. And I always give the same advice when using like a gel liner. If you take an angled brush like that, I prefer those as opposed to the super fine tip like paintbrush looking ones. And you just sort of pick a point and stamp it, move it over and stamp it. You might get a cleaner line until you feel comfortable enough to just drag it across. The other place I did want to put this, and this is kind of a newer trick that I learned. I always do my waterline. I love to do it. I think it makes it fun and pops a bit of color. But I always do it with like a liner. So we're going to take the color Chill. I'm going to get real close for this one because this could hurt. Now, if you have very sensitive eyes, don't do this. I've been doing my makeup and I've been having my makeup done for a very, very, very long time. So I'm very comfortable with things going near my eye, but if you're not, maybe skip this step. So I'm just going to take that on an angled brush and I'm going to put it right in my waterline. And what that's going to do is that's going to open up your eye a little bit more, and it also just gives you an extra place to place a shadow if you don't know, or see, I just got the shadow all over my eye, which again, for me, it's not a big deal. I have no problems touching my eye. I mean, they get irritated just like everyone else's do, but maybe a little less. The other day, funniest story. It's not really funny. I've been watching a lot of like pantry restocking videos. I don't know why. I just find them super relaxing. And after watching them, it was literally the day that Jill was coming to my house. Jill is my friend at MAC who is doing my makeup for the wedding. She came over and we were, well, no, she was about to come over and I had about an hour to kill, and I thought this is the perfect time to restock my spice cabinet. And we had a bag of red chili pepper flakes, and so I put those in the shaker and I emptied the bag. And after that, I went to go like zip the bag up to throw it out, and I kind of pushed on it really quickly from both ends, and the residual powder in there just went poof, and it was in my eyes and it was in my nose and in the back of my throat, and I was like flushing my eyes with water for like 5 minutes, and I thought I'd gone blind. She wasn't gonna be able to do my makeup. It was really dramatic, but my eyes handled it pretty fine. So now I almost feel like indestructible in that kind of a sense, which is probably a bad way to feel. All right, so we're gonna take some of that twist color. That's that really, really pretty, like kind of olivey gold, and I'm gonna put that a little bit more to the inside and the middle. And I think that's just because I do want to take another color, or do I want to? No, I'm not going to do that. I have a better plan for that. So I'm going to use this. I don't want to cover all of that other green. It's just a little bit there and there. It's definitely one of those shades that would pick up, you know, depending on what you put it with, it would probably go more gold or more green. For me, it is definitely pulling green, which is exactly what I wanted. And just for a little bit of fun, I am going to take that Super Greens color. That's that minty color. Let's put that as an inner corner highlight. And just a little bit of like fun pop of green right there. Normally I would do this with like a shimmery white, but whatever, like I said. It's a fun way to get to use more out of the palette. So the next thing that I want to do before I get into putting a liner on, and this is a trick that I haven't done in a while. I don't wing liner. You guys will know that if you've been with me for any amount of time. The closest I've ever gotten is taking like a green liner and sort of flicking it out and then putting another liner over top. So we're going to do that with the color Stash. This is why I changed my plan last minute. Got that on an angled brush. And I'm going to basically go from the inner corner. And because it's a shadow, you have a lot more forgiveness with this than with an eyeliner, like a liquid liner or a gel liner. You can get right up close to your lash line or put it in your eye like I just did. Like that. So it's just going to darken up, I can't talk today, darken up that lash line. And then I'm just going to take it and kind of flick it slightly out. Now, I don't wing liner because of the shape of my eyes, because anytime I do it, it kind of ends up looking a bit like a check mark. But with something so light like that, you're not even gonna notice that it's there. It's just a little something extra. So if you're like me and you don't like to wing liner, but you kind of like the look of it, just take a lighter shadow. Don't do it with your black liner, and add that. And then when I put the liner over top, you'll sort of see what I'm getting at about what it looks like. Now the other thing I was thinking about doing is I did pick up, when I picked this up, what are they called? Glitter Rocks heavy metal liner from Urban Decay. It is a gold glitter because I've been wanting one for a while, and I thought that might be fun to kind of layer with the brown, but we'll see how I feel once I get the brown on. I did decide, by the way, that we're doing brown eyeliner. This is, for me, the hardest part of winging liner, is getting them to match. And that's the other kind of nice thing about doing this technique, is they almost don't have to match. You're really not going to notice them because they are so light. Like, you guys can see them right now that I've done it. That one is much darker than that one, but that's fine. But once the brown, or even if you did this with black, gets on, it disappears quite a bit. Okay. So let's go to our brown light. I can't talk. What's with me today? Brown liner. Today for me, that's going to be my KVD Beauty Mad Max Brown Tattoo Liner. This one is one of my favorites. They make a really good black eyeliner as well. So I'm trying to keep pretty tight to my lash line because I don't want to cover all of that green. And where I winged this, I'm not going to wing the brown. I'm kind of going to leave that alone, let that stand on its own. I got a little thicker on this side, so we'll even them up. Not a big deal, but that's going to be the basis of this. Now I'm just deciding how steady is my hand because I have this golden one. It's in Midnight Cowboy, and it just looks like a lot of fun, and I just think it would be a little something something. This is what it looks like here. Super duper glittery. I've never used one of these before. Let's do it. Why not? It has one of these like little brushes, which I am not the most skilled with. So this could go horribly, horribly wrong. I'm just going to take it kind of along the top of that. Are you even going to see it? Yeah, I guess so. Of that brown line. You can barely see it. It just sort of gives it a smidgen bit of glitter. I don't have the most control with this. I'm very unused to using it. So I'm gonna let that dry down a little bit. And while I do that, let's talk about this mascara really quickly. I'm gonna pull you guys out. I'm really liking how this eye look turned out. It is fun, it is green, but it's not so crazy that it's not wearable. I mean, if you like a little bit more drama, you can go higher with some of the greens, maybe eliminate some of the browns that I stuck with, but I do want this to be a wearable, achievable look. That is the problem that I do have with some, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that this the gold dries. With some beauty YouTubers is they do these amazing looks that are great, but it's like they're totally unachievable. And I pride myself on being just slightly okay with makeup so that anything that I do is very easily, what's the word I'm looking for? Recreatable, whatever, copyable. Don't know the word. Okay, so this is the mascara. It has the same packaging as the palette does, and I'm really intrigued to see what this wand looks like, so let's get right in here. Okay, it's kind of got like a little curve to it. They called it a leaf shape. I do like that. It's going to sit really nicely on your eyes to pull up. Let's give it a whirl, shall we? I'm going to curl my eyelashes first really quickly, and then we'll come back and put that on. Alrighty, I put a little curl in my lashes. Let's try this product out. Because it's brand new, it already feels super smooth. So it's supposed to be volumizing, lengthening, long wear. Is it waterproof? I didn't even look at that. That's not the box. This is the box. Volumizing. Does not contain animal-derived ingredients. Cool. So I don't know if it's waterproof. I would say no. But it does say fluffy, volume, and lift. So let's give her a go, shall we? So let's take that curved edge and just put it, I'm going to take the excess off because that could have been bad. Alright, so first impressions. I like the wand shape. It's making it very easy to get nice and close to my lashes. The formula itself is zero clumpiness to it. Like, I should have brought you guys a little closer. I do apologize. This is just one coat, and already I feel like you can see quite a difference between the eyes. I normally don't put more than one coat of mascara on, to be honest. But whatever. Really pretty, definitely volumizing, definitely not super lengthening, I guess, but super fluffy. Let's do the other eye. Oop, I've got the wrong angle out. I think that's the one thing you have to kind of keep in mind about this brush is because of its shape, I feel like it's not multi-directional. Like, you sort of have to be very careful about which way you point the wand towards your eye, and I think you're supposed to put that curved edge in. Which does make sense. I mean, I don't know why they did this. I don't know if there was a call in the beauty community for a brush this way. But whatever. And while I spoke too soon. While the brush is super fluffy, it is actually pretty easy to do your lower lashes as well. So I think that's going to be it for our look. I'm going to spray my face, come back, and we're going to have a little chat about what I think about these products. Alrighty, so that is it for this video, more or less. Here is our final results. Honestly, I'm really impressed with this palette. I think it's fantastic formula. I really like the way it went on. The colors didn't muddy together. They did a little bit at first, but they really do stand alone. Super pigmented. Tons I think that you could do with this. Like I said, you could go a little bit more crazy with some of the greens. You could definitely stick to some of those neutrals I was going with. The formula is beautiful, as you expect from Urban Decay. I'm really impressed with their new completely vegan formula, and if that's something that's really important to you, this would definitely be something to look into. It's not cheap. $58 is a lot of money, but I hate to say it, there are much more expensive palettes out there. And as far as the mascara goes, again, I'm really impressed with it. It is one that I would use over and over and over again. Again, the vegan formula definitely has an added bonus to it. I do really enjoy the shape. I think it was instantly volumizing to my lashes. And my favorite thing, and it could just be because it's new, but I found that sometimes even when I open new mascaras, they do clump up really bad. Maybe that's the all of the different like oils in here that are keeping it a little bit more loose and separated so that you can get those full lashes without them all clumping together. I'm really impressed by this, so go and check this out. It is definitely available in Canada now. I don't know when it becomes available in the States. I feel like the dates I saw on Instagram were like February-ish. But definitely go check this out if it's something you're into, if you like those greens and things. I think that this is a really good formula. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today and watching me go through this video. It ended up being a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but all in all, I think it was totally worth it. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below. Are you going to be picking up this palette? Is there other palettes I should try now that I'm trying to expand my brand portfolio on here? Let me know. I love hearing from you guys. And if you're not already and you want to be, then subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye.